for this week's spill.
Grab your favorite drink and come hang out with us.
Okay, so for this episode, there is going to be a trigger warning a little bit. We're going to be talking about, like, our traumas with our dads.
Yeah, shitty dads. I think it'll definitely touch on, like, abuse, neglect, all that general stuff.
So if it is like a hard subject for any of you to listen to, we won't be offended if you click off and just join us for our next week's episode. But if you guys are ready to buckle up for the ride, we'll start recording this one for you guys.
Okay, let's have our first sip before we get into it. Jesus. Okay, I've got lychee bubble tea with strawberry popping today.
And then I have a chocolate milk tea with strawberry popping pearls today.
They're bomb.
So good. So I think how the layout for this one is going to be, me and Lauren are going to go, like, with age groups. So, like, we'll start each of us talking about, like, our younger years, and then, like, after the divorce and so on and so forth as we get older, and then, like, into our lives now, I guess.
Yeah, like, end it off with, like, you know, obviously now we've become who we are after all of it, so kind of going into, like, who we turned out to be after all of this.
Yeah. So for myself, like, growing up, I was always, like, a daddy's girl. Like, we would always, like, do stuff together, like fishing, skidooing, like, everything. And then I also, like, never wore a shirt because I wanted to be like him, and, like, would stand, like, on the deck, like, shirtless with him, and, like, yeah. So it's kind of nuts to, like, visualize that. And then yeah, as I, like, got older, I guess it just got worse. So when I was, like, 4, so I've never had a nosebleed in my entire life, ever.
That's wild.
Yeah. Except one time. Yeah, when I was, like, 4 years old, I guess I said something that, like, he didn't like, or something that, like, pissed him off, and he ended up, like, smacking me and made my nose bleed.
That makes me so sick to even hear you say that.
And, like, I feel like most of this stuff, like, you block out, right? Because, like, you don't want to go back and, like, remember this stuff. But I feel like for not only me and Lauren, but, like, for anybody that's listening, this is going to be, like, a therapy session for, like, all of us. And then, another thing that, like, really sucked growing up, I'm sure a lot of you guys also had parents like this, but where, like, if you didn't like your food, you, like, had to sit there and eat it anyways.
I'm that parent.
So he would make, like, me and my sister literally, like, sit there for hours until we finished our food, and I would always, like, pretend I had to go to the bathroom, and I would, like, spit it out into, like, a Kleenex and either flush it or, like, put it in the garbage. And then my sister would, like, shove food in the seat cushion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, yeah, it sucked.
It's things like that, right, that, like, you don't realize how shitty that is until, like, so much later.
Yeah, and, like, there's a difference between, like, oh, like, you guys have to finish your food, like, or no, you have to fucking sit there for hours and finish it or you're not eating.
Yeah, that's traumatic.
Yeah.
For kids. It's not, like, that's not a helpful way to get them to do something.
That's, like, kind of all I remember when I was really young, up until, like, when my parents got divorced. So I'll let you start your stuff.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so my parents had me when they were 17 and 18, and I just remember, like, same thing you said, always being, like, a daddy's girl, and I don't know, like, we'd bond over very few things. Disney movies, like,
Okay, I don't want to cut you off, but not Disney movies. But me and my dad used to watch like Dukes of Hazzard and stuff together too.
What is that?
Like Dukes of Hazzard,
Yeah, what
like
is
an
that?
old show with like where they used to jump that orange car with like that 01 on the side.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
okay, but anyway, that's like a similarity, like for
Yeah,
show wise.
like that's weird that there's like a specific like core memory that I have is like watching Disney movies. And yeah, like he would give me and my brother, like there was two of us. My brother's 3 years younger, but he started collections for us, and mine was Disney movies. So that even like now when I watch a Disney movie, it like kind of throws me back into childhood. Um, but yeah, they were together only 6 years, and my dad like up and left like middle of the night pretty much, left my mom with everything, mortgage, bills, me and my brother just like just left. And uh yeah, I don't know, we saw him once in a while for maybe another year, and then we just did not hear from him. Not like a birthday card, not a phone call, nothing. Like he just disappeared and like moved somewhere. Besides, uh, yeah, those very few years of actually being around each other, that's like the only memories I have.
And seeing like, I feel like there's more on like either end, but I feel like both of us probably just blocked out a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even like the good, I feel like I don't remember a lot.
No,
Not that young anyway.
no, I think like older, yeah, but being that little, like you can only retain so much of that. And when it's a lot of like, I don't know, if you had like a lot of yelling and hostility and stuff when you were little that you remember, um oh, specifically, I remember one time hearing my dad yell at my mom so loud that my couch at the time had like the back cushions could get removed and come fully off, and my hiding spot every time my dad yelled at me was in the corner of the couch where
Mm.
you'd like take the back off, and I'd plug my ears with my finger and then put my whole hand over my ear, and I'd push my head into the corner of the couch as far as I could and wait till I could like not hear him yelling anymore.
Yeah, my dad also like
Holy fuck.
yelled a lot. And like I don't want to think about it, but like you do, right? Like how loud and like scary and
Uh-huh.
belittling. Yeah.
Well, and like when you're that little too, that's when like a lot of your personality is formed. So probably something to do with why we have like anxiety is hearing so much like violence and loud yelling and stuff
Yeah.
at such a young age.
Okay, so when I was 8, ish, my parents got divorced and I was doing week on, week off until I was like 10 or 11. Um, and like during that time, my sperm donor was very like controlling still, and he like wouldn't allow my mom to park in the driveway, wouldn't allow her to like walk me up to the door. Like she literally had to park on the street and like I would get out and go myself. Like she wasn't allowed on his property. Like he was a controlling fucking asshole. And there was like a few times where mom would drop me off and he would be standing like outside in the entranceway or whatever, like making out with his like girlfriends.
Ew.
Just like, yeah, gross and weird, and like I don't know what he was trying to do, but yeah, there was multiple times where that would be going on the second that like mom dropped me off there.
That's so sad.
Yeah,
Like for your mom to see that too.
disgusting. And then so there was ugh, a pretty like bad incident. So I was supposed to go to Folk Fest with my dad, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's like a bunch of different pavilions with like cultures or whatever, and you like go around and watch shows and like eat their food and whatever. I didn't want to go, so he ended up like driving to our house and drove his truck up onto our front lawn to like scare us. And it got to the point that my mom like had to call the cops. So the cops ended up showing up and like telling him to get off and said that like I didn't have to go with him. Yeah, so that was fun.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like a lot of these are going to be refreshers though cuz like I had to ask mom about a lot of stuff and like
Mhm.
how it happened, but like yeah, he was nuts.
That's insane.
I just feel like if your kid doesn't want to go somewhere, like you don't like force them to go or
Like
whatever over like petty things and you don't drive up on someone's lawn. Like that's
that's
ridiculous.
scary.
And then another thing, like when it was really bad, between like me and my dad when I would go there, we would argue a lot and there was a time where I had to go and like talk to a judge myself and I remember like sitting in
What?
this room, yeah. And like I had to like write on these little booklets or whatever, like saying like why I don't want to go there and yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Cass,
So
that's sad.
yeah, and like for a little kid, definitely like scary. But I remember like sitting in that room and like had these papers in front of me and I had to like write out and tell the judge like why I don't want to go back there.
That's a lot of pressure too. And like
Yeah.
that must have been scary. Like wondering if he was gonna know what you said and stuff.
Yeah, the judge himself though, like I remember he was super nice. And at the end, I remember like going there and he gave me like Anne of Green Gables and like whatever, like that part was good. It's just the fact that like you're so little and having to go and basically fight for like what you want.
At that
Yeah.
age, which like should not even be a concern when you're that little.
Yeah. And then sorry if I'm like talking too much, Lauren, you can step in anytime.
No, 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 it's okay.
So yeah, most of like this stuff is like during when I was going there. So obviously he like had to pay child support to my mom and he would literally send my mom like checks for like stupid amounts, like I don't know, probably like 30 to 60 bucks, like just stupid amounts and like write cheeky little comments and like
That's what I was gonna ask if he actually ended up paying child support.
I think he did for a while, but then I think it turned into like stupid shit like that.
Just like petty.
Yeah.
Mm.
And okay, this is also another like triggering point maybe for some people. Yeah, like I don't know if you want to consider it like an eating disorder or if it started like that for me like older, but
Mm-hmm.
he would like lock his cupboards. So like I couldn't go like get a snack like later in the
What?
yeah, like later in the night or like yeah,
He'd lock the cupboards.
yeah, and like lock me out.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, like now I'm thinking about it and I'm like
Oh my
that's
god.
really fucked up and like probably does like
Contribute
oh
to a fucking
a
eating
100%,
disorder?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course it would. I can't believe that.
And then so um in elementary school, um my stepdad, well I consider him like my father now,
Dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
would pick me and my friends up from school and at the time my mom got me a cell phone so I would have it like when I was at his house
Hmm.
and he sent me a message I guess after um he picked me and my friend up and said, "Oh, like clearly your stepdad got you and your friend home safe."
So he's
Like
stalking you?
literally like sitting out there like watching, like I don't know.
That's fucked up. Okay, how old were you at that point? Do you know?
I want to say like probably grade 4.
Grade 4?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, that's still too young for all of this.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
Mhm. And then before like high school and like older, there was a time where he legit threw all of my stuff, like clothes, belongings, whatever, on his front yard and like mom had to go and like pick it up. I don't know what the hell I did to piss him off that much, but
Just all your stuff.
yeah.
That's like unbelievable to me. Like, how do you do that to a kid? That's what I mean. Like, more than anything, this kind of stuff now, like, now that we're out of it, just pisses me off.
I know, like thinking back, like how could somebody do that to their kid? And like, yeah, another thing, and then I'll let Lauren like talk about her childhood. Um, the big thing that I remember the most is he messaged my mom like basically saying that I wasn't his and that he wanted her to get like a test done to like
What?
prove, yeah, to prove that I was his. And it's like, unfortunately, I look like you.
I was just gonna say that, like, from the pictures I've seen,
Yeah,
you can tell
like I look like,
biologically. That's like a salt in the wound
yeah,
kind of thing, right? Like after all the shit he's put you through, and then it's like, oh, by the way,
yeah. Sorry, I
maybe
don't
she's
think.
not even mine.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
yeah. And like my mom and me obviously like never went and got that
Because
because
you know.
100%. Like you look at me and you see that side of the family 100%. Like
That's such an insulting thing to like accuse someone of. And like for you, how did you feel like knowing he was questioning whether you were like biologically his daughter? Like,
a lot of it, like even to this day, there's like sometimes where I'm like, I get upset about it and I shouldn't.
you have a right to though.
Yeah, but I remember like when mom told me, I said like, what? Like more so confused, I think,
Yeah,
because you go through your entire life like,
that's your dad.
yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's not mine, get a test. Like, sorry, but no.
Wow. Yeah, like that must have just felt confusing, yes, but also just like really shitty for you. That's so gross. Like that makes me so sad.
Yeah, he's done a lot of like petty, disgusting, like abusive things, and like,
It does seem like a lot of petty.
yeah, and like it mind fucks you, especially when you're that young.
Uh-huh.
You're expecting this person to love you and like be a father.
Protect you.
Yeah, and sure, okay, it was fine up until whatever how old I was, but like, yeah.
Doesn't really make up for anything
Mm-mm.
at that point. No. Okay, but I guess let's continue feeling shitty. So as I got a little bit older, um, and I, had been like away from my dad for a few years, I don't remember feeling specifically anything for a while. Um, it just kind of was like normal to me not to have him around anymore. Um, I do remember the first time I think it really bothered me was like seeing my friends have dads. Like like it sounds dumb, but like seeing elementary school friends like go on vacations with like their mom and dad and bring back like vacation pictures after the summer, and like at a Christmas concert or like a band concert, like I was one of the only kids in my entire class that did not have a dad like in the audience. And so that's kind of when I think it started like bothering me, is when I started feeling like left out. So that kind of brought like its own issues, right? Like it was like a lot of thinking I did something wrong for him to leave, and thinking there was like I could have done something differently that would have made me like a good enough daughter for him. um it's, well, you know what I mean? Like I don't know,
But yeah,
just
I get it.
when you're that little, like that's just kind of where your mind goes, is like, what did I do that was so bad that like you didn't want to be my dad anymore, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it started being like sad for me, I think. And that was kind of around the same time where like I would sleep with like a picture of him under my pillow every night.
Aww.
And that's also, I think, around the time when my little brother was old enough to kind of start feeling bothered by it. So that was kind of a turning point for my relationship with him because we would start like trauma bonding, I think, over it a little bit. Um, and I remembered a lot more than he did because he was a lot littler when our dad left. So I did really find, I still do find like a lot of comfort in my little brother because we are the only two people in like the whole world that know exactly what we went through and how we feel all the time. And like obviously people around us knew, but yeah, me and my brother are the only ones that like went through it together and understood it together. So that's kind of like a cool relationship to have with him. It's like one bonus that came out of all this, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides that, like I think growing up, my grandpa was more of like a father figure to me. And eventually I did gain like a stepdad, but without going terribly into that, was not a great situation either. Um, he was like, I will say, like he was a good guy. He was a decent guy, but just he was never like my dad. I never called him dad, like nothing. Um, he was just like there, kind of like a figurehead in the position, but like not actually a dad. I don't know. But yeah, besides that, I don't know. Like I know for you, you still like had to see him and stuff. I just like this kind of portion of my childhood, like there's nothing. I don't have like conversations. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
It's more so just like how I felt about everything.
Because you're at that age now that you could, like,
Hmm.
get it. Like, what the hell is happening?
Well, I think the first time my mom told me anything about my dad, I was like 13. Because at that point, I had been questioning it, like, oh, why did he leave? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do we not see him? Whatever, whatever. And she had to give me like age appropriate answers. Um, but then finally, around, yeah, probably 13, we had to sit down and have a conversation about a lot of stuff, a lot of shitty things that I don't think really need to be fully hashed out publicly. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
That's really all anyone needs to know. Um, but yeah, that kind of brings me up to teenage years. This is like heavy to talk about this shit.
It is. Like, bringing it back, like, up to surface is a lot. It really is. Because you go so long without, like, really thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like, here you go. Like, all of you guys are getting it. Plus, me and Laura get to, like, relive it all.
Well, and a lot of this stuff we haven't told each other. Like a
Yeah.
lot of stuff you've already said, like I didn't know.
Yeah. Even though we did, like, trauma spill,
Yeah.
like, a lot of this is, like, yeah, the little details.
That we just did not know about each other.
Yeah. So, I ended up like sneaking out of his house. I think when I was like 10, I 10 or 11. I found out a lot of things that like he did to like my family and had enough of like dealing with the arguing with him myself. So yeah, I called my mom and I remember like telling her like I'm sneaking out, like I want to leave, come get me. And this is at like 12:30 in the morning, like 1 o'clock.
Oh,
And he was asleep on the couch in the living room, so like I couldn't go out the front door. So I remember sneaking out of the back and I was like on the phone with my mom, like being quiet
oh my
as I'm
God.
sneaking out. And so I get outside and he had his freaking gate bolted, Lauren. So, in order for anybody to get in and out, you physically had to like twist the bolt off and like pull the thing out.
What?
So I was like, no, not doing that. Don't have time, right? So I climbed up on the garbage can and like hopped the fence, and mom picked me up, and I never went back. And then yeah, after that, like he would never like send cards or reach out to me or yeah, wouldn't do any of that. Just like you never got cards or anything, like I also did not. It's like he
Just
just
disappeared.
I left, he didn't want to know why. I'm assuming he probably had a fucking idea because he was a piece of shit and still is
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then for high school, um Mom wanted to take me and my sister on a girls trip to Mexico.
Love
I
that.
was 15, so I still needed him to like sign my passport.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yep, so he wouldn't sign it.
Okay,
So,
sorry to
no,
cut you
that's
off.
okay.
Before we get into it, did your mom and dad have shared custody of you legally?
Yeah, like it
Okay.
was, yeah.
Okay, my mom had sole, so we didn't need him for anything.
Okay,
He didn't
yeah.
even show up to court. She got sole custody because he didn't show up. So, okay, that's all. You
Yeah.
can continue.
So because of that, yeah, he did. He had to
So you
sign
would
it.
have had to get him to sign. That makes
And
sense then.
yeah, so he denied that, wouldn't do it. So obviously, like, didn't want me to go and live my best life.
Go off, King.
Yeah, and then so mom had to postpone the trip for like a couple months or whatever until I turned 16. So once I turned 16, yeah, we didn't need his signature.
That's interesting.
So yeah, mom postponed the trip until then so we could go.
Without getting a signature from him.
Yeah.
What a great dude.
So again, like went however many years without like any communication, like didn't see him, didn't talk to him. And then in my early 20s, I like tried to reach out for whatever reason, I don't know. Like to this day, I really don't know why I even bothered to like try and have a relationship with him again. I just yeah. Um and then that lasted like I went there I think 2 or 3 times and visited him and
Yeah.
then yeah, found out that he was in a relationship with my mom's half sister, which is fucking disgusting.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's like a whole story on its own, but like not really mine to share. But anyways, so
yeah.
again, that was weird. And so they ended up being engaged, and the last text that I got from him was, "I'll let you know when the wedding is." And I blocked his number
Jesus fuck.
because what the hell, is she my auntie or is she my stepmom? Like it's
What
it's
the fuck?
disgusting. It's fucking disgusting.
What a great text too. Like what a hero. I'll let you know when the wedding is.
And they're not even married. So like just a waste of skin. Like he's yeah, disgusting.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So after that, yeah, I blocked his number and like haven't spoken to him since and I really never want to again. Like I'm not trying to have a relationship with him. I don't give a shit what he's doing. Like I am so much better off without like having that. And on that note, like my mom got remarried to my stepdad, which I don't call him stepdad. He's like 110% like my dad.
He's the best ever.
Yeah. Like he's
He
great.
really is. He's the best.
But he's been around like honestly longer than
Your
his
father
aunt.
had
His aunt sperm donor. Yeah, no, like yeah, he's been around like way longer.
Isn't that crazy?
It
Like
is.
it just really goes to show like it really does not take blood for like family. It really doesn't.
And like the amount that like he does for our family and like my mom and me, like 110% like the best dad I could have like ever asked for.
Well, you can tell how much he like loves all of you and he takes care of all of you. Like even from the little, I think I've only met him the one time.
Yeah.
But I hear all about him, right? And like yeah, he's amazing. I'm so happy that you guys all have him, especially you.
Yeah.
I feel like you needed that.
Mom definitely lucked out, but like so did we for sure.
Well, yeah. It doesn't always end up like that, right? Like
yeah,
it's very fortunate when you're able to have like well, I say stepdad, but like it's not a stepdad, it's just a dad.
That's another thing, like so I like have his last name also. Like I got rid of my old last name because why the hell do I need to keep going with that? So yeah, I like changed my name like a while ago now. It's been like years. So yeah, it's like officially like I am done like with sperm donor.
Piss hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah,
no
now,
ties.
no.
Okay, so then I have a question for you. Because I know you also mentioned like you were a super big daddy's girl. Do you still feel like any part of you is still like that? Like deep down, like even if you don't want anything to do with him now, Do you at all like ever feel like there's like a little piece of you that still wants to feel like
Not so much wants that, like with him or anything, but like a lot of my interests, like today,
yeah,
I think like started because of him, which like sucks, but at the same time, like country music or like fishing or like being outside and like doing those things or like getting
yeah.
muddy and like like being a
Yeah,
boy.
like a
Like
tomboy.
yeah, I
Yeah,
love that shit so much. And like
yeah,
yeah, as unfortunate as it is, a lot of it did start like when I was young because of him.
yeah, came from him,
Yeah.
which sucks. But you know what? Like, that's probably one of the better things you got from him.
Mhm. That's it in my blue eyes. That's all I thank him for.
Oh
That's
my
it.
god. You do have beautiful eyes. I will give you that. Thanks, Pissant. She does have beautiful eyes.
That's the only thing. Thank you for blue eyes, but everything else you can go fuck yourself.
Push one of that be holy fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Well, good. I'm glad you've gotten to the point where like you can confidently say that, right? Because that is not an easy place to get.
Yeah, like it still bugs me. Like there's the odd day where I'm like why me or like what did I do to
Yeah.
like be abandoned literally?
Mhm.
But then I'm like no, like snap out of it, Cass, because you have parents now who love you like to
Yeah.
death and both of them would do anything for me.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I definitely relate to the once in a while like boo-hoo.
Mhm.
Not like obviously we deserve to have a boo-hoo, but okay, I'll dive into my last little spill here. So, I guess I'll pick up from the first time I talked to him again, and I think it was 11 years. I believe I was 17. I could have been 16. I don't think it matters that much. And this was after like years of being super fucking angry at my mom, which like obviously I feel really bad for now. But I was just confused. I didn't understand whose fault it was, if it was mine, if it was hers, if it was his. I was just angry, like generally just an angry teenager, and I lashed out a lot at like everybody, especially my mom. Um, so yeah, like 16, 17. I don't know what started it, but I decided to look my dad up in a phone book. He answered, and I was just like, "Hi, is this blah blah blah?" And it was like, "Yeah, who's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's me." And like, it took a second for it to click and be like, "Oh fuck, hi." Because after that many years, like, that's really I couldn't expect different than that, honestly.
Mhm.
But yeah, so after that phone call, I remember getting an email address and emailing him for probably almost a year, and then finally meeting up with him. Um, that was scary. Like, he's a tall guy. And when I met up with him, like, I just remember seeing like this massive guy that like looked like a boy version of me and like an older version of my little brother. Um, just like looking for me. And it was really emotional, and like I honestly should have been pissed off. I was not pissed off when I saw him. I was like very happy. Um and then I don't know, it was okay. Things were okay. It was really baseline. Like we didn't really have a lot of conversation that mattered at all. I do remember one time, for the very first and probably the only time, giving him shit and like asking him why he did everything he did, and his answer was piss. Like he just pretty much like brushed it off and made excuses that didn't make any sense and blamed everyone but himself. So I did not ask again or bring it up again. And now bringing it to the present, I don't see him. I hardly talk to him. I talk to him like Christmas, uh, birthdays, anytime something goes wrong with my car. like he works with cars, right? So like I don't know. I just kind of that's like my excuse. So here's the thing that's different between you and me is like I still am working on like
Building
making the
something.
cut.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like I've made a lot of progress with it. Like with like I started therapy like 2-3 years ago. Did not do it very long, but I think I was able to make like some progress. That's why I asked you if you still have like the little ting in your heart that makes you feel like you want to be a daddy's girl, because I do. And I actively fight it off because he's such an ass.
See, in that way, like, so in my like situation where I like have a dad, my stepdad,
Yeah.
like I will go to him for like car troubles and like stuff like that. But like my whole family does, because like
Yeah.
he does that too, and it's like,
Yeah.
so in that sense, and like joking around or like whatever, like we have a great like father daughter relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't like miss that with Dum Dum like at all.
Which makes sense then, right? Because I didn't have a different father figure
Yeah.
to have that with. So like still as like a 27-year-old, I still don't have a dad, and I think I still struggle a little bit with it. However, I'll tie it in um because this is how I think of it now. Like obviously I have two kids of my own, and I think having kids has kind of changed my perspective of things, because like it made me realize there is not a fucking thing my children could do that would ever make me do what my dad did to me. Like nothing. Like they could fucking kill someone. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it shows me that there is no fucking excuse.
There isn't.
There's no excuse. And I think as a like the child part of me, like the relationship I have with him as just a child, wants to forgive him and make excuses for him, but the parent in me is like there's no fucking excuse for what you've done, because like you'd never see me do this to my kids. See, ever.
And I think that's a big reason why like I tried to have a relationship with him again in my 20s, because all I remember is like it was good at one point when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, like you're wishing that like it's still gonna be like that, but like it isn't.
You're like holding on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, and like for a while, I just like, you accept it and it is what it is, and it's their loss, really.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
We're fucking amazing. We really are,
Lord. Oh, yeah.
We are.
We are. And the other thing, actually, that I think about all the time is, like, my mom calls it breaking the cycle. But statistically, when you grow up with an abusive parent or, like, in an abusive home, you should, by all odds, end up being with an abusive partner. And I'm not gonna like sit here and say I didn't. I definitely did at a point. Because I was like constantly chasing like affection from like a man. And it landed me in some pretty bad relationships. Yuck, I hate this.
No, that's okay, because you know what? Not so much relationships, but like flings or like whatever. I have also like had like enough of those, and I think that's what it is. Like you miss, I don't know if it's like a manly like figure or like what it is,
like
but
love
it's definitely daddy issue.
It is a daddy issue.
Like 100%.
Yeah. But it's gross. It makes sense, but it's gross. And like yeah, my ex, like the last ex I had before being with my husband, was definitely starting to exhibit the same behaviors as my dad. Like And it starts small. It starts very small. Like, it starts with, like, you can't wear this. You can't dress like this. You shouldn't be going out here.
Yeah,
You
the
shouldn't be
controlling.
talking, to this person. And then it starts moving into, like, emotional stuff. Like, you're stupid. You're ugly. You're a piece of shit. You're fat. You this. And then it gets physical. And that was the same pattern, I'm sure, my mom saw with my dad. And I was very fucking lucky that I caught on to that with my ex, and
Got out when you did.
yeah, and I got out before it got like nearly as bad as my mom. So it's funny because she always says now, like, oh, you broke the cycle with Marcus, because he's, honest to God, like, the complete opposite. He's so patient and he's so loving and he's so kind and gentle, and he's like, literally, oh, this is like the only time I might get upset. Is like, he is solely the reason my kids will never feel the inadequacy that I had to feel. Like, my own daughter is never gonna feel like her dad doesn't love her, or like, you know, I did not think this was gonna happen.
Oh no, you got me crying.
No. But it's like at a tournament or a competition or a concert, like, my kids are gonna look out and they're gonna see their dad. And that never happened for me, but it gets to happen for my kids. So, like, that makes everything okay for me. Like, I'm at peace with it because it's this, yeah, like my mom says, like, the cycle broke. It's not gonna keep happening. It's not gonna happen to my kids. So, ew.
Shout out to Marcus.
Yeah, seriously, like, the best man there is on this fucking planet. I swear to God, he is.
I'm so glad you have him.
Ew. Ew, I did not think this was gonna get sad.
Made it this far.
Oh,
it was good.
oh my God, we did it. Ew. Okay, do you have, like, final thoughts or opinions or questions? You're crying too.
Yeah. You made me cry.
I really, like, we got
it's like
through.
Good tears though, because like I'm happy
It
for
is.
you and your kiddos.
I am too. Oh.
Because like your whole family is just the best.
Oh, it's just, I don't know. Ew, like, I cannot believe this got sad. As soon as I talked about the kids,
Yeah.
do you notice that? Like, the whole time I was fine, and then as soon as I bring up my kids, it's like, oh.
But that's the thing, like, you know what you went through, and like they'll never have to go through that because
like, never.
They have you and Marcus and like the support and the love and like,
yeah, they're not gonna sleep with pictures of their dad under their pillow.
And if they do, it's for good reason.
Yeah. I mean, be a little weird, but it would be for good reason. But yeah, that's like all I could ask for, is that it doesn't repeat, and it's not going to.
Yeah.
So fucking bless the broken road. Oh
no, I feel like this was really good to like just get out again and like dig a little deeper into it all, because I don't know, not only like will it help us obviously to like vent,
yeah,
but it's gonna help like you guys too, like whoever has gone through this or who hasn't gone through this but maybe in a relationship
or knows someone that has gone through it and you don't know how to like help. And I feel like this is something a lot of people don't talk about because it's hard to talk about.
It is, yeah.
So I feel like there's not a lot of people that are just like willingly getting this shit out in the open. And that also is why this was like one of the first episodes Cass and I decided to do, is because this one feels like it might help someone.
Yeah, and I feel like wherever this takes us, like, I want it to not only be like a safe space for like me and Lauren, but like for you guys too. I just think it's comforting to like have stuff that you can relate to and know that like you're not alone and
Yeah.
you have us.
You always have us.
Yeah.
That too, if you're going through this or you've been through this and you want to write us in like the Q&A section on Spotify, or send us a DM or message us on YouTube, make
or
a comment
Instagram,
or Instagram, like let us know, then we can like deal with it together.
Yeah, even the people listening that like have us on like our personal social medias, like
reach out, because now that it's out there in the open, like
you guys know the shit we went through and dealt with and like still deal with it.
Well, and I feel like too, this did get really deep, but I feel like this is like scratching the surface. If we had 30 hours, like I don't even know if we could ever say everything.
Yeah.
So there's more to it than it even seems.
A lot of it too is stuff that like doesn't involve us. Like, yeah, there's just a lot, but again, we just focused on obviously like what we went through and not dishing out other people's like baggage.
Right, because there's a lot more that both of us could have said, but it would be like it's not our stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to speak on behalf of my mom or my brother or anyone else.
Same. Yeah.
Doesn't, like, they can share it on their own time if they ever choose to, but yeah. I think it's good that we went that way, though, and we just kept it with us. Yeah, I think it was, like, the most respectful way to go about it. And we both talked to our mums and like made sure it was cool that we said what we said, so don't come at us. Like, we got permission from mom. Thanks, mom.
Thanks, mama.
But yeah, so I think everything we said was good.
Yeah.
And it's out there. And
I hope you guys like enjoyed this, but also like I hope it helped people if it needed to.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope that, you know, at the end of this, you'll maybe, I don't want people to see us in a different light in a negative way, but like,
because we still joke around and like, we're good. We're good.
We're just like built different, right? We've been through some shit. We're great now.
Yeah.
We're not 30, flirty, and thriving.
Not yet.
Coming soon. But I think we turned out pretty fucking good.
I think so too.
Now do you guys see how we bonded so fast? Like, can you imagine sitting with your best friend having this conversation and then not becoming closer best friends after that? Like, good luck.
I could never.
Right? Can you imagine us having this conversation and then being like, see ya, I don't want to be friends?
Yeah.
No.
Even though, like, we're both full of trauma. Sorry, I don't want yours.
Yeah, like, you can have mine, but I'm not gonna take yours. No, I think they'll totally see how easy it was for us to be friends after spilling all that to each other.
And like, not even just that, it was like everything. So
oh god, like just wait till we talk about everything else. We're so full of good stuff.
Yeah.
The best. Okay, well, I think that's enough crying for 1 week.
It was deep and needed.
Yeah, I love that for you guys. Love that for us.
Yeah, I love that for us too.
That's so great.
But we hope you guys join us in our next episode.
Yeah, the next one's gonna be pretty juicy. Not like so much traumatic, but like kind of gossipy. Like juicy. Spill some tea.
Yeah, it'll be a good one too.
Yeah, so tune into that one, and then we'll get some fun ones coming too, but we need to spill. Like Cass said last time, we gotta spill the actual tea.
But yeah, we will see you guys in our next episode.
Yeah, make sure you like, share, comment, follow, whatever the fuck else you want to do.
XOXO, go sip girls!